Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another video on my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jean. I'm so glad to have you here. So in today's video, we will be going over my September-October reading wrap-up. We will talk about the 6 books that I read. The first book that I read, well, technically the first book that I finished was Book Lovers by Emily Henry, but I included that in my August wrap-up. So the first book that I read is You Have a Match by Emma Lord. This is a very YA summary type of book. So it's about Abby Day, who is a nature lover. She's very down to earth, who takes a DNA test on a whim one day, and she finds out that she has a secret sister. Her sister's name is Savannah Tully. She is an influencer, the complete opposite of Abby. They don't know why Savannah was given up for adoption. Abby had no idea she had a sister. Savannah didn't know Abby existed. So in order to kind of solve the mystery of Savannah's adoption, they both sign up for a summer camp where they can speak freely to each other without telling their parents. This book was very, very wholesome, very cute. There are more mature topics like infertility and giving up a child for adoption, but overall it's very, very YA. It reads a bit too YA for me. I think this is something that I would have really enjoyed when I was 16, 17 years old. I also really like Emma's writing style. She has this way of describing things without describing them literally. So there was one passage that I really liked. Instead of saying like Abby was running towards her sister, which also, by the way, they look like twins, she wrote, Abby was running into a mirror, and right as the glass is about to shatter, she realizes it's her sister. The next book that I read in the month of September was Fable by Adrienne Young. So I have a history with this book. This is the 3rd time that I picked it up. I read the first chapter twice, and both times I was just so frustrated with the vocabulary, and I just basically didn't understand what was going on, because it's all about pirateering, it's about navigating a boat, it's about fishing, all things that I am not familiar with, and Adrienne will get into that language. I pushed through the 3rd time and I wound up really loving it. I just realized I forgot to give my star rating. For You Have a Match, I gave it 4.25 stars. I gave it 4.5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. Even though throughout the story there were still words I didn't understand, it's just one of those books that is so perfect for rainy days, for cozy vibes. Fable is about Fable, who is 17 years old. She was abandoned on an island by her father 2 years ago before the story starts. She was left to fend for herself. The island is full of thieves, full of bad people, full of men. She was left as a girl. Fable, at the beginning of the story, is wanting to get back to her father. She enlists the help of Wes. Wes has his own little crew, he has his own boat, but the problem is Wes is not who he seems to be. I really, really liked it, so much more than I thought I would. Fable is a strong female main character. Even though she's poor, even though she has no clothes, she will not take a penny from anybody unless she earns the penny. So if you like strong female characters, then you will absolutely love this book. I also love the dynamic she has going on with Saint, who is her father. I would recommend this wholeheartedly if you guys are looking for a cozy read. The next book that I read is on my Kindle. It is The Court of Ravens and Rune by Eliza Rain. So this is about Raina, who is rune marked, which means she's special, and she also has copper hair, which apparently is very, very not normal in this world. Raina is a human. All humans are enslaved to Fae. They have this tree of life. On this tree of life, you have 5 different courts. Raina is enslaved to the Gold Court. The Shadow Prince breaks in to her court and kidnaps her. The Shadow Court is one of the most feared courts. They are known to manipulate you, to play tricks on your mind, to play mind games. She has no idea why. She's never met this man, but she's terrified for her life because of his reputation. But when she gets to know him better, when she gets to his court, she realizes that he in no way, shape, or form lives up to his reputation. His mother, who is his stepmother, she wants Reina dead, but the Shadow Prince has other plans for her. In the heat of the moment, he's arguing with his stepmom. To protect Reina, he announces that she is his betrothed. In this world, Fae can only have one wife. She will be his commitment for life. I highly recommend you guys read this. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I just couldn't stop reading. This is the slowest burn book I've ever read. By the end of the book, they haven't even held hands yet. The only criticism I have for this book is that fantasy is very hard to write, especially the world building. It's very hard to create such a complex world and to be able to explain it very well in terms where you as a reader can picture it fully, can imagine yourself there, and can understand what's going on. Eliza didn't fully do that, and so there's a lot of things that I don't fully understand about the world. I decided to read only thrillers for the entire month to get myself in the mood for spooky season. Hardly ever read thrillers. And I started off with One by One by Frida McFadden. This one is about Claire and Noah, who are a married couple who have been having problems for a really long time. They're thinking of getting a divorce. When them and their two couple friends plan this camping trip, they have to get their shit together in order to make it seem like their marriage is not falling apart. So you only get the point of view of Claire and also the killer. I only realized this after reading like 20% of the book. I was so confused because it would switch from Claire's present life to someone's childhood, but that childhood was clearly the childhood of an abused child, but Claire didn't seem like she was abused as a child. I was so confused about what was going on. They're driving to the campsite, their car breaks down, they have to walk on foot to the campsite. One by one, people start dying, and then you're kind of left with Claire and Noah, and it's like, yes, they have problems, but can they really trust each other, or do they not really know who they're married to? Sitting on the edge of my seat the whole time. I'm not one of those passive thriller readers. I'm the type of thriller reader that's like trying to figure things out. I go to previous chapters to be like, did the author accidentally give something away? Huge plot twist in this one, and maybe it's because I don't read thrillers that I didn't guess what the plot twist was. When I was explaining the story to my boyfriend, he like immediately knew who the killer was. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. Was very enjoyable. I would recommend this to anyone who is looking to enjoy a good thriller. The next book that I read in the month of October was City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. This is book 5 of her Mortal Instrument series. I am getting there, guys. If you've been following me for a hot minute, you may know that I read the Mortal Instruments series for the first time in 2018. I read up until book 4 out of 6, and after book 4, I just didn't feel the need to keep reading, so I put it down and I just DNF'd the rest of the series. And then recently, when I filmed my physical TBR video, I realized that I have way too many books on my physical TBR that have not been read yet. I decided to pick up the series again so that I can knock at least 2 books off of my physical TBR. I didn't expect that I wouldn't like it. I absolutely loved book 1, 2, 3. Book 4 got me into the biggest reading slump, and I really just wanted to DNF the series. I got the audiobook. Audiobook was more enjoyable than just reading it. This one I gave 2.5 stars. Jace, for the past 2 books, just hasn't been himself, so I'm not getting the Clary and Jace moments, which is the whole reason why I kept reading the book. It's contempt fantasy romance. The last book that I read in the month of October is The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. I forgot to mention, this was suggested to me by a subscriber, and One by One by Frida McFadden was also suggested to me, and I appreciate suggestions so much. Thank you so much for the recommendation. The Perfect Child, I actually was very intrigued by. I gave this 3.75 stars. At the beginning of the book, I really did think that it was a 5-star read. I was absolutely loving it. It's dual POV between Hannah and Christopher. They're a married couple who cannot have children, but besides that, they're very happy. One day at Christopher's hospital, this child was brought in. She's in awful condition, like very clearly was abused, was assumed to be a toddler, but is actually 6 years old. That's how much she was prevented from developing. She's kind of like a child. She doesn't know what she can eat. She doesn't know what she can't eat. Christopher had this genius idea of adopting her. Janie starts exhibiting very problematic behaviors towards Hannah. She loves and adores Christopher. With Hannah, she's very resistant. She doesn't listen. She completely ignores Hannah at the beginning as if Hannah doesn't exist, which is so heartbreaking for Hannah because Hannah wanted a child to begin with, which is something she gave up, but now the child that she has won't even recognize her. You just see the progression of Janie and all the things that are very disturbing about her. There's a murder that goes on in the story. It did start out as 5 stars, but then Christopher became very ignorant, insensitive, and just awful towards Hannah. The story was just getting on my nerves, repetitive, and then Hannah started falling apart towards the end. In the end, there were just no characters that I liked. I listened to the audiobook. This audiobook was so good. They did such a good job, and this was a very easy listen. I was able to listen to it while driving, which I typically can't do for audiobooks. So those are all the books that I read for the months of September, October. Let me know what books you guys have read, what your favorite read was, if you've read any of these books, what your opinions are. I would love to hear more from you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you very soon in my next one.